Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
All right, welcome back to Outlaws, Gunslingers with your host, Bang and Dang. Second week of the month, which means we're throwing on our vests, putting the chaps on, and riding that old steel horse down the road and gonna murder some people.
right.
Once again, back with the Hells Angels. This time we're going up north, eh?
The old Canucks, huh?
Going up north, eh?
Gonna be the nicest biker gangs you've ever seen. Doubt it.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, eh? Yeah, they're not so nice. They're not so nice. We were just gonna do Canada, but then Quebec has this whole section which was called the Quebec Biker War, which is probably going to be longer than just talking about all the crimes in Canada, because so much shit happened in that. So we're going to do that in another episode. So we're extending the Hells Angels by... Good news, everybody. Arts and crafts time has been extended by 5 hours.
Hey.
My fingers hurt. So we extend Hells Angels for another month. So, but today we're focusing on the rest of Canada, which we all know, just like all the other ones, the Criminal Intelligence Service Canada has designated the Hells Angels an outlaw motorcycle gang. They've been linked with, what do you think they've been linked with? Mm-hmm. That's right, drug trafficking and production, as well as many violent crimes, including Moeda.
Oh, shit.
In Canada. All right, before we get into that, you already know it. Go check out our YouTube if you're listening on Spotify, Apple. Get this podcast, plus our Battles of the American Civil War, plus our brand new bi-weekly. we got a bi podcast.
Right.
We got a bi-weekly podcast called Bang and Dang Debate, where we debate random topics.
We started off with a bang.
Not no serious, like the little debate shows you guys see on YouTube with all those douchebags, but just a laid back, friendly spin a thing and give us a topic, and we
don't know.
Probably not even debate half the time, just talk about them. Pretty much,
yeah. Sometimes some of them will become debates.
Right, but so that's over there now. So subscribe at Bang Dang Network, and if you just prefer to listen on Apple, Spotify, give us a review, share some friends, answer that Spotify question. Well, according to the CBC News, the Hells Angels have 34 chapters operating in Canada with 1,260 full-fledged members. Dude,
that's more than the United States, isn't it?
No. Yeah, because the United States only had like 800, didn't they? I don't know. According to this article, the Hells Angels had, at that time, 15 chapters in Ontario, 8 in British Columbia, 5 in Quebec, 3 in Alberta, 2 in Saskatchewan, and 1 in Manitoba. Manitoba, is that the one where they talk like weird, right?
Manitoba, I think, it's right above
Wisconsin.
So they got the... Don't you know, Bobby?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
In a speech to the House of Commons, Bloc Quebecois MP Riel Maynard Hochelaga, he, she, they, them, stated that there were 38 Hells Angels chapters across Canada in the mid-90s.
Look at that shit. Working out well for them. The Vancouver Sun newspaper reports that Canada has more Hells Angels members per capita than any other country. And you guessed it. Yes, including the United States of America.
Well, per capita, right.
Right.
There's like 12 million people in Canada.
Where in the United States, there are chapters in about 20 states.
Right, but again, it's Canada.
Right.
They have 13 provinces or some shit.
The Canadian Hells Angels have partnered with the Median cartel, the Rizzuto crime family, the Sinaloa cartel.
Sinaloa.
Yeah, Sinaloa. And they also are affiliated with the West End gang. They created criminal opportunities for everybody.
They're equal criminal enterprising. Damn, they did. They had the cartels, the mafia, the West End gang. Is probably some Irish shit.
All right, fantastic. Additionally, the club has also formed alliances with various street gangs, including Independent Soldiers, Red Scorpions, United Nations. Whoa.
Oh, whoa, UN. We knew they were fucking corrupt.
The White Boy Posse.
All right, all black guys.
Right. Wow. Also, some smaller motorcycle gangs, such as Bacchus, the Gatekeepers, and the Red Devils.
Oh, you dirty little Red Devils.
Right.
The Hells Angels established the first Canadian chapters in the province of Quebec during the 70s. The first Canadian chapter was founded in Montreal when a club called the Popeyes, led by Yves Bouteau, were patched over. September 79, new Angels chapters were established in Laval and Sherbrooke in Western Canada. And in 1983, a Vancouver club known as Satan's Angels were patched over to form the first BC chapter.
See, all they had to do was replace Satan's part and put Hells.
Right. Same thing, right? In December of 1984, the 13th Tribe Biker Club in Halifax, Nova Scotia, led by David Wolf Carroll, patched over to become the first Hells Angels chapter in Atlantic Canada.
Outlaws and several affiliated independent clubs such as Satan's Choice and Paradise Riders. Oh, that's cool.
It should have been P-A-I-R.
Right.
Paradise.
Yeah. They were able to keep the Angels from assuming a dominant position in Ontario, which was Canada's most populous province until the year 2000. On the prairies part of the old Canadian terrain, the Grim Reapers of Alberta, Los Bravos in Manitoba, and several other independent clubs across the prairies formed a loose alliance that kept the Hells Angels from assuming dominance in the prairie provinces until the late 90s, until they're like, we can't hold them off. 1997, Grim Reapers Club of Calgary, Alberta. They were patched over. They were patched over in the year of 1997.
But okay.
Nope. And also in
Oh,
98, the Rebels of Saskatoon.
Yes. So Saskatoon ladies.
And in 1998, the Rebels of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, they also joined in.
Hey, ladies, you host teasers? By the end of 2000, under the leadership of Walter Stadnick, they called him Nurgit.
No.
And after the largest patch over in Canadian history occurred in Montreal with the bulk of the Ontario biker clubs, they all patched over December 29, 2000.
Wow.
That made the Hells Angels become the dominant club, not just in BC, but all of Quebec and all across Canada, with chapters in at least 7 of 10 provinces and affiliates in at least 2 of the other 3 territories.
Oh, wow.
January 12, 2002, a Hells Angels convention in Toronto was gate-clashed by the mayor of Toronto, Mel Lastman, who was photographed shaking hands with an angel, Tony Biancaflora, and told the media the Angels were fantastic for bringing so much business to Toronto. He said, they're just a really bunch of nice guys, eh?
Sorry if you don't like that. Josie Ann Disrochers, the mother of 11-year-old Daniel Disrochers, who was murdered by Hells Angels bombing in 1995, she said this: I find it degrading. It is the government with us, or is it the bikers who are with the government?
Why not both?
Year 2006, the Bandidos, the only possible rivals of the Angels in Canada.
Why? We're having the Outlaws.
Right. Well,
Guess we'll get there.
the Bandidos, they self-destructed with the Chedan massacre.
Oh, no.
Leaving the Angels as the only national outlaw biker club in Canada.
Oh, wow.
An officer with the Ontario Police stated that after the Chedan massacre, the Hells Angels were on Easy Street. They had a monopoly across Canada.
All right. Good for them, guys, huh? Well, let's go province by province.
Okay.
Start out with British Columbia. We're going to be on the West Coast here, buddies.
Right.
The first 3 British Columbia Hells Angels chapters in Nanaimo, Vancouver, and White Rock were founded on July 23rd, 1983.
All the same day, huh?
That's because they merged with the Satan's Angels Club.
Okay.
A 4th chapter in East Vancouver was established later that year and became the Hells Angels' leading chapter in the province.
Damn.
According to a joint report by the Royal...
You can't have the leading chapter of the Hells Angels be a patched over club.
Right, there's got to be one they... Right, it's like Vince McMahon.
Right.
Got to make my own stars, bitches. According to a joint report by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and United States Drug Enforcement Administration, the club was in control of all outlaw motorcycle gang activity in BC.
Uh-oh.
By the mid-'80s, that happened.
Okay.
The Angels have since expanded to 10 chapters and membership of over 100 in the province.
Damn.
Hells Angels control the meth trade in British Columbia, as you would assume they would.
They do. Makes sense. 6th of April, year 1988. David Ernest Swartz, they call him Screwy.
Oh, Screwy Swartz.
He's a full patch member of the Hells Angels, East End, Vancouver. And he was shot and murdered with a rifle by his friend Lynn Neil Eddington, who then killed himself with the same gun.
The old classic murder-suicide.
Son of a bitch. The man had been drinking heavily at a party in a house. It was at 15771 96th Avenue in Surrey.
Jeez, even their fucking cities apologize.
Surrey.
Surrey.
When they began fighting, they got pissed. Well, it usually happens.
Yeah.
Eddington then left, returned with the rifle before he committed the murder-suicide. According to Lynn Neal's mother, Jean Eddington, her son had been despondent after separating from his wife, Cindy, and he was looking for a party on the night of his death.
He found one. Well, in an interview with Carol Volkart of the Vancouver Sun, Jean stated that her belief that her son had killed himself after shooting Swartz because he feared the Hells Angels would avenge his death. Well, no shit.
Oh, my God.
And he did not want his family to become targets of retaliation. They'll fuck with your family.
Right.
She also said it was an argument between two young men who had been drinking. It was not a Hells Angels killing. It was not a gang-related killing. Shortly before the beginning of Eddington's funeral on 10th of April, 88, 3 Hells Angels entered the Valley View Funeral Home Chapel and began spitting on his coffin.
Oh.
Members of Eddington's family were warned, "We haven't finished with you yet."
Oh,
Dad,
shit.
come on, he's dead already.
Right. What the fuck your family have to do with anything? Son of a bitch. That very next day, a message left on the answering machine of Gene Eddington said this: "That bastard Neil killed one of us, and you guys are next." Oh, no. Well, Jean, she then reported the threat to the Surrey RCMP, but did not request police protection.
They were like, "Sorry."
Surrey, can't do it. The East End chapter has since organized the annual Screwy Ride in Swartz's memory. Fantastic. His son also became a member of the club.
Right.
I mean, he probably had to.
Screw Junior.
July, year 2003, Michael Plant offered to give the Popo information and became the police agent around whom much of the E. Pandora investigation ensued.
Charges arose from Project E. Pandora, which was an extensive police investigation, yes, into the alleged criminal activities of the East End Charter of the Hells Angels.
All right.
The evidence in this case included intercepted private communications, included telephone and audio recordings.
Makes sense.
Physical surveillance, and expert evidence.
Ooh.
The case would eventually be dubbed the Trial of R.V. Giles. It would see 3 charged individuals appear before the Supreme Court of British Columbia.
Oh, that's it.
72 appearances would span from 14th of May 2007 until 20th of February 2008. And by order of Madam Justice Anne Mackenzie, it included a publication ban on related trials, so nobody can even report about this shit.
No one even knows. End of 04, beginning of 2005, the culmination of investigations into the actions of the motorcycle club. It led to charges against 18 motherfuckers.
That's it.
Including members of the Hells Angels.
I would assume that's who you're investigating.
Right, and other associates of the gang. Ooh, that's got to piss dang, everybody off. 27th of March, year 2008. The SCBC Justice Mackenzie, she ruled against prosecutors who had attempted to convict a Hells Angels member of possession for the benefit of a criminal organization. Damn.
Dude, is she like all buddy-buddy with these guys or
Right,
what?
what's going on here? Although 2 associates of the Hells Angels, which were David Roger Revel and Richard Andrew Rempel,
Rumpelstiltskin.
they were convicted of possession for the purpose of trafficking. Justice Mackenzie concluded that with the acquittal of the only Hells Angels member being tried, which was David Francis Giles, on a charge of possession of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking, a second charge against them, which was count 2, of possessing it for the benefit of a criminal organization, had to fail as well.
Oh. Well, in summary, thank you. Revel and Rempel, they were found guilty, but Giles was found not guilty on either count.
Wow.
Also, Revel and Rempel were not guilty on the charge of possession of coke for the purpose of trafficking. In her acquittal of Giles, Justice Mackenzie said she found the evidence against him was weak,
Right.
and intercepted communications were unreliable because they were difficult to hear.
Okay.
She further stated that the Crown prosecutors had failed to demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt the group was working to the benefit of, at the direction of, or in association with a criminal organization, to wit, the East End Charter of the Hells Angels.
All right, so they could not prove that it's anything to do with the Angels.
They're just knuckleheads.
You little nookie. Project Halo, 3-year investigation by the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Team of the RCMP. Fuck you, Canadians.
CF's it.
They started investigating into alleged criminal activity with the Nanaimo chapter. The investigation culminated in a search warrant being executed on the 12th of December, year 2003. On the 9th of November, year 2007, a seizure order was executed on the clubhouse by dozens of heavily armed RCMP officers for violating a criminal code.
David Giles, a founding member and former vice president of the Kelowna chapter, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison by the Supreme Court. Oh, see, buddy, you're never getting off.
Oh, fuck.
That was March 31st, 2017. Dude, you went all that time without doing nothing.
Right.
Guess what he was convicted of? Conspiracy to import cocaine, conspiracy to traffic, and possession for the purpose of trafficking.
So he's trafficking.
Right. August 25th, 2012, he and 7 others were arrested after broken a drug deal with undercover Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers.
How do you not tell? They're on horses.
Well, they were posing as South American drug lords, apparently.
How the fuck does a Canadian pose as a South American drug lord?
He made a $4 million down payment on the delivery of what was purported to be 200 kilos of coke
Holy
to
shit.
a Burnaby warehouse. Giles' sentence was the longest prison term ever handed down to a member of the Hells Angels in British Columbia. Cool. Giles, who was originally from Eastern Canada and formed a close relationship with Maurice Boucher, they called him Mom.
All right.
Doc Giles died in Abbotsford, Hospital July 1st, 2017, age 67. So he didn't even spend that much time in prison.
No, good for him. Moving on to the old province of Manitoba. Not much is known about this place.
It's like Australia. It doesn't even exist.
Right. Just the town of Winnipeg, that's it.
Right.
August, year 1996. 3 men shot dead inside a home in West Kildenden in Winnipeg as part of a feud over control of drug and prostitution rackets between members of the Manitoba Warriors and associates of the Angels. 2 men convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced life. No chance of parole, motherfuckers. No,
25
for
years.
25 years. Okay. A third accused was acquitted. The Angels' expansion into Manitoba began with a relationship with the Los Bravos, a local motorcycle club, obviously. They did that in 2000. Nope, in the year 2000, Los Bravos were patched over, becoming full-fledged Angels members.
Good for them. February 15th, 2006, the Manitoba Integrated Organized Crime Task Force, along with over 150 police officers from the RCMP, Winnipeg Police Service, and the Brandon Police Service. Fucking what? They made numerous arrests and conducted searches as part of the investigation of Project Defense. 13 people indicted on a variety of charges, which includes drug trafficking, extortion, proceeds of crime, and organized crime-related offenses. Proceeds of crime means they got money.
Right. I love it. Project Defense was initiated in November of 2004 and focused on high-level members of drug trafficking cells in the province of Manitoba, including members of the Manitoba Hells Angels.
Yeah.
During the very investigation, the Popo made numerous seizures that totaled in excess of 7 kilograms of coke,
Weak.
3 kilograms of meth within the Manitoba Hells Angels organization and other drug trafficking cells as well. Arrest warrants, guess what? They were issued for 13 individuals. 12 search warrants were authorized for locations in Winnipeg and the Winnipeg surrounding areas.
This long-term covert investigation was initiated by the Manitoba Integrated Organized
Why are
Crime
they so
Task Force,
secretive?
which was established in the spring of 2004 when an agreement was signed between the Winnipeg Police Service, the RCMP, the Brandon Police Service, and the province of Manitoba.
Let's go, Brandon, baby.
The mandate of the task force was to disrupt and dismantle organized crime in the province of Manitoba.
Fantastic. Well, the year was 2007. Today was the 12th of December. Project Drill came to an end
Drill, baby, drill.
with the Winnipeg Popo raiding the Angels Clubhouse on Scotia Street. Project
Corner
Drill.
of Nova and Scotia.
Right. Project Drill started the previous evening with arrest in Thompson and continued throughout that very night and the early morning in Winnipeg and St. Pierre-Jolais. During the course of Project Drill, police seized vehicles, approximately $70,000 in cash, some firearms, marijuana, Hells Angels related documents and property, and other offense related property. Okay. As of the 12th of December, 14 people, custody, 4 still being sought after.
Custody. 4. Sought.
The Popo said it was the second time the chapter president was the target in a police sting since the gang set up shop in the city in the year of 2001. Angels Prospect member L. Labra was also arrested at his Barber Street home in Wednesday's raids. Must have been a news article, huh?
Sure. The recently amended Criminal Property Forfeiture Act gives the province the power to seize the proceeds of crime. Right. Police have exercised similar authority against Hells Angels members in other Canadian cities, I would imagine.
Fantastic.
December 2nd, 2009, Project Divide culminated with 26 arrests, 8 arrest warrants still outstanding after the year-long investigation.
Okay.
The investigation and arrests targeted alleged drug trafficking and related activities of the Zigzag Crew. They were a puppet club of the Hells Angels Winnipeg chapter.
Fantastic. A public club, huh? Let's take a look at some other joint investigations that Manitoba was involved in. Project Develop, a joint 18-month investigation with Ontario, New Brunswick, and British
Damn,
Columbia.
they said, let's get some provinces together.
Right. They also joined in the January of 2006 Project Husky, a 2-year investigation involving the Popos in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. Resulted in the arrest of 27 suspects, including 5 full patch angels from across eastern and central Canada. That's a good one. That was a success, right? Moving on, Project Coker, 23-month investigation in Edmonton and Calgary. Don't know what happened there. Probably nothing. Also, they participated in Project Halo, 3-year investigation by the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Team of the RCMP. They were investigating alleged criminal activity with the Nanaimo chapter, which we said earlier, right? The investigation culminated in a search warrant being executed on 12th of December, year 2003. Well, just...
yes, we know. It was the section criminal code thing.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Nova Scotia it is. Let's go to the East Coast, boys. 13th Tribe Biker Club in Halifax, led by David Wolf Carroll, patched over to become the first Hells Angels chapter in Atlantic Canada, December 5th, 1984. According to the Mounted Police and the United States DEA, the Hells Angels saw the port of Halifax as a pivotal entry point for cocaine shipments from Florida and South America. And the Hells Angels amalgamation of the 13th Tribe allowed the club to consolidate control of drug trafficking on Canada's East Coast.
6th of August, 1993, 4 Angels members on board of the Fortune Endeavor jettisoned a 750-kilogram cocaine shipment off the coast of Sheet Harbor. After the ship suffered mechanical failure, leaving the ship's crew with no choice but to accept a tow from the Canadian Coast Guard. The drug consignment, stored in waterproof packets hidden inside the 9 cast iron sewer pipes, had been transferred to the Fortune Endeavor after it rendezvoused in international waters with a ship that had left Venezuela. Okay.
Part of a conspiracy. Oh, so I got in then, huh?
Oh, wow.
A part of a conspiracy organized by Montreal and Quebec City Hells Angels chapters, along with the Rizzuto crime family. Oh, the cocaine was intended to be dumped in the St. Lawrence River off of Anacostia Island and later retrieved by the trawler Anak C2 with the use of sonar and the assistance of a team of divers. Damn, it was a fucking covert shit.
Damn.
August 25th, 1993, the RCMP raided 39 locations in Nova Scotia, Quebec, and New Brunswick, and Newfoundland and Labrador. They arrested 19 people in connection with the narcotic shipment. 4 trawlers, a speedboat, and a yacht were also seized. The submerged cocaine was retrieved by the Canadian Navy submersible Pisces 4 and diving support vessel HMCS Cormorant. That happened November 14th, 1994. Several Hells Angels, as well as Rizzuto family associate Reynold Desjardins, were ultimately convicted in the case. That's a hell of a lot of cocaine. 750 kilos.
That's a lot, bud. That's millions.
Yeah.
As a result of tensions between the Angels and a crack cocaine dealer, Sean Simmons, dating as far back as the mid-90s, full patch Hells Angels Neil Smith ordered the killing of Simmons. We got rid of get rid of this guy. He alleged that Simmons had an affair with Smith's girlfriend. Oh. In exchange for the reduction of a drug debt owed to Smith, 2 of his partners in his drug dealing business, Paul Deary and Wayne James, they agreed to Wayne James, bitch.
Is Wayne James gonna have to murder a bitch?
They agreed to carry out the murder. Another man, Stephen Garou, he was tasked with locating Simmons. October 3rd, year 2000. James Garou and James' nephew, Dean Kelsey, and Derry's wife, Tina Potts. They traveled to Simmons' apartment building in Dartmouth. Oh.
Why didn't Paul Derry travel and just send his wife?
Right.
Well, Kelsey then fatally shot Simmons in the building's lobby.
Oh, shit.
He was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in 2003. Sentenced to life with no chance of parole for at least 25 years.
Wow.
Nova Scotia Court of Appeal overturned the conviction in 2018, though, and a new trial was ordered.
Okay.
But March of 2019, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that a new trial was not necessary. They upheld Kelsey's conspiracy conviction, but reduced the first-degree murder conviction to the lesser charge of second degree.
Okay.
So look at that. He could get parole in, what, 5 years?
All right. Michael McRae, the president of the Hells Angels Halifax chapter. He served as the Angels World Secretary until the 2003. Oh, look at that. That's a lot of responsibility there, Mikey.
Yeah, Secretary of the World. I'm Secretary of the World, Craig.
McRae was the only Canadian on the Hells Angels World Executive. Oh. And he frequently visited the other Angels chapters around the world as well. This dude. Halifax Regional Police and the Royal...
Oh, shit. I didn't even realize that was for the whole Hells Angels altogether.
Yeah, for the world, motherfucker.
For the world, Craig. Thought it meant just for that chapter.
No, it says the world 3 times.
But I guess... Right, but they could be the World Secretary for that chapter.
I guess. Right. The Halifax Regional Popo and the Royal Canadian Mounted Popo, in a joint operation, recruited a small-time drug dealer. They called him Bill, due to a court work as an informer.
Well, Bill, when he saw the Hells Angels murder another drug dealer, and in 2006, he told the journalists Julian Schur and William Marsden. Schur and Marsden, heard a lot about those guys in the UK episode.
Yes.
He said, I would either kill them or be killed.
Ooh.
The undercover work of Bill led to 3 full patch Angels from the Halifax chapter being convicted of drug charges. No murder, though, I guess.
Right.
Huh? Paul Derry, he helped the Angels murder a Port Halifax worker and agreed to turn Crown's evidence Crown's evidence. When faced with first-degree murder charges.
Fantastic.
Fucking Crown's evidence, baby.
Great. Derry told Sharon Marsden, in the eye of the public, I came out of this looking like a hitman who got away with murder. I appeased my guilt by ratting on everybody. But you got to deal with it. It comes down to this. Me going to jail for life or them.
Yes.
Derry served no prison time and is currently living in hiding under an alias.
Yeah, it would be. Preferably not in Canada.
Right. His testimony led to the conviction of one full patch member of the Halifax chapter.
They really love these full patch members, don't they? They
Right.
just take pride in arresting those guys.
And they also convicted several prospects and hangarounds. Hells Angels rules require a chapter to have at least 6 members at any given moment, or else they lose their charter. As the Halifax chapter had 4 chapters following the convictions, Sonny Barger revoked the charter of the Halifax chapter in 2003, which ceased to exist. McRae was forced to return his Vickers vest with the Hells Angels patch following the revocation of the Halifax chapter. Yeah, that's fucked up.
They could have took a guy or two from another chapter.
I mean, come on.
Jeez. Let's go to Newfoundland and Labrador. October 11, 2007, the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary arrested 12 people in connection with the Hells Angels linked drug ring in St. John's, headed by Patrick Champeau of the Hells Angels Montreal chapter. Hey, hand me some shampoo.
Right.
The police believe that the Champeau gang was importing about $1 million of cocaine into Newfoundland per month and were the largest drug dealers in the province. Champeau was arrested in May 2008 in Quebec. August 2009, Champeau was sentenced to 5 years in prison. And that's all you get for Newfoundland.
I mean, that's all anybody knows about that place, right? Moving on to the old Ontario, Greater Toronto area. Cocaine sold by the Angels is reported to be 85 to 90% pure. Damn. Well, they're like, man, we got heavy competition from the mob and Asian gangs who are selling some good shit. In Northern Ontario, where the Angels have no rivals, the cocaine is diluted to about 25%.
I bet.
Which thereby brings in a greater profit.
Damn, look at these motherfuckers.
Don Bell of the Ontario Police Anti-Biker Enforcement Unit told the journalists William Marsden and Julian Schur in 2006. He said, in the North, the Hells Angels more or less control the market. It's red and white Coke or no Coke at all. In the North, they are the game.
Good for them. Well, the Hells Angel chapter in London, Ontario,
London
was dominated by 2 brothers, John and Jimmy Coates.
Huh?
No.
Wait a minute. We heard these guys before.
Well, John Coates was a large-statured man with a height of 6'7", weighed 300 pounds, and worked for the Angel Sherbrooke chapter. He worked for him. While his younger brother, Jimmy, although not as big as his older brother, was described as a very intimidating little fellow. July 2001, Jerry Smith, owner of a car dealership in London, was threatened by a Hells Angels member, Douglas Johnson. They call him the Plug.
Ooh.
He had told him to pay the Angels $70,000 immediately.
Or else.
Why?
Wow. Well, that following week, Jimmy Coates, president of the Angels London chapter at that very time, he arrived to tell Smith and verbally threatened him by saying this. We know where you live. We know you have a wife. We know you have a daughter. Well, Smith informed the Popo of the threat. He goes, they know I have a wife and they know I have a daughter. And they also know where I live. They don't know what kind of car I drive, though. So, think they do? Probably.
That's the only thing they couldn't. Somehow, that's the only information they couldn't get of the guy. But they have his wife and his kid. I still don't know what this guy drives.
1 week later, Coates, Johnson, another Angel, Thomas Wallenshaw, they knocked on the door of Johnson's house to tell him to pay the $70,000. As Wallenshaw maintained, he didn't want to see anyone get hurt. Like, we don't want to see anybody get hurt. We just want the money, buddy.
Well, finally, Smith did pay the $70,000. The police then arrested all 3 men for extortion.
Oh, shit.
After the trial, the 3 men maintained they had no weapons, but the Crown Attorney Elizabeth McGuire argued that the mere fact the men were wearing jackets with the Hells Angels patches, it was a threat alone, saying the weapon of that was held to Mr. Smith's head, his wife's head, his daughter's head, was the Hells Angels.
I believe so.
The 3 men then pleaded guilty to lesser charges.
Oh.
Okay. 7th January 2002, 4 members of the Jackal, the Angels Puppet Club in London, arrived at the house of Thomas Hughes, the president of the Outlaws London chapter at 434 Edgerton.
Uh-oh. What's going to go on? Well, Hughes and another outlaw, Marcus Cornelis, he opened fire. Hughes did, leading to a shootout that one Jackal, Eric Davidnon, he shot in the stomach. Oh. The shootout ended with the Jackals fleeing in their car. Not motorcycles, huh? As Hughes and Cornelis, they ran down the street shooting at them. Oh. April 2003, the OPP.
You down with them?
They launched Project Shirley, using information gathered by a waitress turned informer. The OPP arrested 14 angels from the downtown Toronto, East Toronto, North Toronto, Simcoe County, and Keswick chapters with regard to the Quebec connection, as the smuggling route from Montreal was very known. Like, we know what you guys are doing to Montreal.
The OPP alleged that the sleazy bar, the Country B-Hops, in Toronto was the base for selling coke and prescription
I
drugs.
bet it was.
However, the Crown assigned only 2 Crown attorneys to prosecuting Project Shirley versus the 86 defense lawyers hired by the Angels. Jeez. Which overwhelmed the Crown attorneys so much that the Project Shirley charges were either dropped or reduced as a result of plea bargains.
Yeah,
Like, let's get the hell out of here.
Right.
The most senior angel was Thomas Craig, the secretary of the downtown Toronto chapter, who received 6 years, though.
Oh.
Damn.
That's one. Somebody had to do something sometime.
Unfortunately,
right?
it was the vice president of all people. But
Usually what happens. September year 2004. 2 angels, Stephen Tiger Lindsay and Raymond Bonner, he gets no nickname, convicted extorting $75,000 from a black market satellite dealer in Barrie. Both angels had arrived at the man's house wearing their patches, while a police bug recorded Lindsay saying to pay the money or else deal with the 5 other guys that are fucking the same kind of motherfucker as I am.
jeez, wait, are you fucking somebody or?
Wow. Justice Michel Fist also convicted the 2 men of gangsterism. I didn't know there was a thing.
That's good. Get some gangsterism.
Fuck yeah. He said this. They presented themselves not as individuals, but as members of a group with a reputation for violence and intimidation. They deliberately invoked their membership in the Hells Angels with the intent to inspire fear in the victim. They committed extortion with the intent to do so in association with a criminal organization, the Hells Angels, to which they belonged. Wow.
September 2006, after an 18-month investigation conducted by numerous law enforcement agencies and dubbed Project Tandem, 500 police officers, 21 tactical teams raided property connected to the Angels chapters in Ontario. At least 27 members were arrested, of which 15 were actual Hells Angels. Property seized was worth more than $1 million and included $470 in cash,
how you explain that?
$70,000 in cash, $300,000 in vehicles, and $140,000 in motorcycles.
Damn.
During the raids, drugs such as cocaine and ecstasy were seized.
I bet.
Total street value of those was more than $3 million.
Damn.
This is the first time I've seen them like put down the value of cars and motorcycles.
Right,
Any of
that
this.
shit.
Is that like a thing the Canadian police do?
All right. Project Tandem was made possible by recruiting Stephen Galt, which was the treasurer of the Angels Oshawa chapter. They have him serve
at Oshawa Generals.
something like that, as him serve as an informer. He is believed to have been the first Canadian full patch Angels to wear wire for the popo, and he also served as a star witness for the Crown in the subsequent trials that were to follow. April year 2007. After another 18-month investigation, this one dubbed Project Develop, 32 clubhouses were raided in Ontario, New Brunswick, and also the little place of British Columbia.
Well, the clubhouse at 498 Eastern Avenue in Toronto was raided by the Biker Enforcement Unit of the Ontario Provincial Police, which is the OPP, and members of the Toronto Police Service, April 4th, 2007.
All right.
At least 15 members of the Angels were detained and charged with drug and weapons offenses at the Eastern Avenue clubhouse raid.
Damn.
According to police, Project Develop seized some 500 liters of GHB, worth an estimated $996,000.
Well, I'm going to say million.
They also got 9 kilos of coke, 2 kilos of hashish, and oxycodone and Viagra pills as well.
Look at that shit.
Can't forget that Viagra.
Working out for them. The police also seized $21,000 in cash. Project Develop also seized 67 rifles, 5 handguns, 3 pairs of brass knucks, and a police baton. Project Develop was made possible by recruiting David Atwell, the sergeant-at-arms of one of the Angels Toronto chapters. Guess what? You're going to serve informer. He said, okay. 21st of May, year 2011. 5 of the accused arrested as part of Project Develop, convicted by a jury of various drug offenses, including trafficking in cocaine and oxy, participating in conspiracy to traffic GHB, and possession of GHB for the purpose of trafficking. Well, they kind of...
All right, one of the accused was convicted of possessing a restricted firearm without a license as well. However, one accused, represented by defense lawyer Lenny Hochberg, was acquitted of 2 counts of trafficking handguns and possession of brass knuckles, and another accused, Larry Pooler, who was the Toronto chapter vice president, he represented himself. He was acquitted of 2 counts of possessing unrestricted firearms without a license 2 counts of trafficking oxy, and 1 count of participating in a conspiracy to traffic GHB.
Fantastic.
Furthermore, all accused were acquitted of all charges of acting in association with or for the benefit of a criminal organization.
Oh, look at that shit. Take a look at Quebec. Quebec.
This is the site of the infamous Quebec Biker War, but that's going to be in our next episode because it's long.
Right. Well, Quebec's economic crisis of the 20s saw many of the province's urban population heading for the rural communities in order to cultivate lands to provide for themselves and their families. Like, we're going to be farmers.
Mm-hmm.
The settlers' children, like many youth of this era, were rebellious and rejected their parents' values. The period from 36 to 1960 is remembered by Quebecians as the Grand Noirceur, or the Great Darkness. Well, when Quebec was the most part ruled by the ultra-conservative Union Nationale Party, who imposed traditional Catholic values in a way now considered to be oppressive.
Well, with the 1960 provincial election that resulted in the Union Nationale being defeated by the Quebec Liberals, which is considered to be the beginning of the Quiet Revolution that saw Quebec go during the course of a decade from being a very conservative to being a very liberal society where it remains today.
Wait, then they try to succeed from Canada?
I don't know.
They became their own little fucking entity, right?
I don't think so.
I think so. I'm pretty sure Quebec tried to succeed. And I think they did. They almost did. Yeah, they tried. That was back in 95. I know it was years ago.
Well, there was one in 80 apparently as well.
Yeah, they've been trying to get out like Texas forever.
As part of the reaction against the medieval Catholic values of the Grande Noirceur, it saw the emergence of a hedonist culture in Quebec, with a La Belle province having, for example, a significantly higher rate of drug use and illegitimate births than English Canada.
Uh-oh.
Well, see, that's what happens when you become a liberal, liberal states, guys.
Damn right. As part of the same backlash against the suffocating conformism of the Grand Noirceur, outlaw biker clubs became extremely popular in Quebec in the 60s, as many young French-Canadian men saw the outlaw biker culture as a way of expressing rebelliousness and machoism. By 1968, the old Quebecians had 350 outlaw biker clubs. Damn. Also in the 60s, Quebec outlaw motorcycle clubs incorporated many of the same characteristics as American biker clubs. I would think so. One result of having so many outlaw biker clubs in the same province was an especially brutal competition for control of organized crime rackets in Quebec. I mean,
that'll happen. The crime journalist James Dubrow stated that the distinctive outlaw biker subculture of Quebec, he said, there's always been more violence in Quebec. In the biker world, it's known as the Red Zone.
Ooh.
I remember an Outlaws hitman telling me he was scared going to Montreal.
Oh, shit.
The expansion of these groups flourished during the 70s, as a few popular gangs, notably the Angels and the Outlaws, grew almost 45% due to Quebec's biker groups affiliating themselves with their American counterparts. Right.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Let's do it. 17th of February, year 1978. Yves Trudeau, they call him Apache, the Hells Angels' leading assassin, he killed an outlaw outside of a Montreal bar. In the later biker war between the two gangs, Trudeau confirmed his reputation as a psychopathic killer. He claims to have killed 18 out of 23 outlaws slain during the conflict. Conflict ended in 1984 with the Hells Angels as the leading biker gang in Quebec and the Outlaws as the leading gang in Ontario.
Oh, good for them. In 1985, the Lennoxville Massacre, the Angels liquidated their chapter in Laval, and which caused much disorganization, with many of their leaders being imprisoned, plus the national president of the Hells Angels Canada, Michael Sky Langoy. He fled to Morocco to escape an arrest warrant for first-degree murder.
Damn, we went to Morocco.
The Quebec branch of the Hells Angels at its prime included various clubhouses against Quebec, or across Quebec, which housed many of the gang's puppet groups, who would often carry out the gang's criminal activity. Yeah, you get the puppets to do it.
Right, makes sense. Every Quebec region had its own puppet club. The Rockers Motor Club in Montreal, the Rowdy ones in Sorel, the Evil ones in Drummondville, the Satan's God in Saguenay region, and the Jokers in St. John, which includes Maurice Boucher's son, Francis, as a full-fledged member. Fantastic. Independent drug dealer Jean-Claude Maltais, they call him La Côte. He was fatally shot at least 5 times with a 9mm pistol by 2 unidentified suspects. They were on a snowmobile. Makes sense in Canada. I wonder if they have snowmobile clubs. That'd be awesome. They were shot by people on snowmobiles as he left the Faubourg Sagami shopping center in Jonquière on the 29th of January, 1993. Prior to his death, Maltese had refused to capitulate to the Hells Angels Troy Riviere chapter, led by Louis Roy, and they call him Emilio, and Richard Crow Emmond. He had been reportedly considered bombing the Angels clubhouse on Rue St. Paul.
Okay, now the Canadian Hells Angels have a close association with the British Hells Angels, and the Montreal chapter was involved in shipping cocaine to the London chapter. In 1994, the Montreal chapter shipped 558 kilos of Colombian cocaine to the London chapter, and unknowingly recruited an undercover agent of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who posed as an unscrupulous Canadian businessman living in London, who agreed to provide the necessary import licenses to allow the cocaine to be shipped to London. I'm pretty sure we had this in our UK episode as well.
I believe so. 17th August 1994, ship loaded with the cocaine left Barranquilla, while two members of the Montreal chapter, Pierre Roderick and David Rouleau, were sent to London to pick up the payment when the ship arrived. Forwarded by the Mounties, Scotland Yard arrested Roderick and Rouleau after they paid for the cocaine. Nick Clark of the National Criminal Intelligence Service, he said this: when the rooms were searched, they found contact lists for all the UK chapters. We suspected they were going to use that for a distribution network. Roderick and Rouleau were convicted and sentenced 14 years in prison. Good for those guys.
April 15th, 2009, Operation Shark QC was conducted by the Sûreté de Quebec. First specialized organized crime law enforcement task force in the province was composed of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Sûreté du Quebec, and the Montreal Police. Their goal was to investigate the Nomad chapter of the Hells Angels in the Montreal and Quebec City regions until it was dismantled 2 years later to make way for a bigger province-wide task force.
Bigger and better, baby.
Well, bigger.
Everything's bigger in Quebec. The Hells Angels' threat in Quebec and Canada resulted in the first anti-gang law in Canadian legislation. As the old Canadian government wished to build on the success of their big brother, their anti-racketeering legislation known as RICO. Furthermore, during the period of Canadian anti-gang legislation was created, many Montrealers were experiencing high volume of violent acts which threatened civilians.
April 15th, 2009, Operation Shark QC, according to the police at the time, it was the biggest strike at the Hells Angels in Canada's history, and probably in all of Hells Angels history, period. In all, 177 strikes were conducted by the Popos. 123 members were arrested, charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, gangsterism, or drug trafficking. The police seized $5 million in cash, dozens of kilos of coke, marijuana, and hashish, plus thousands of pills.
Damn. Cray-cray. Operation was expected to lead to the closing of 22 unsolved moitas. Operation Shark QC involved a full patch member of the gang turning informant, a very rare occurrence in Quebec, except for the 3 times we just... Oh, no, that was in Ontario. October 2015, Quebec Superior Court Judge James Brunton ruled that delay between their arrests in 2009 as part of the Operation Shark QC in 2015, they violated the right to a speedy trial guaranteed by the Charter of Rights. Why? And freedoms, and dismissed all the charges against the Hells Angels arrested as part of Operation Shark QC. So they're like, you stupid bastards. You waited all this long. Speedy trial, motherfucker. They didn't get a chance. So guess what? It's over.
That was your Hells Angels crimes in Canada.
Sure was.
Well, next week, though.
Quebec was a little blah than I remember.
Well, we got the Quebec Biker War. From 94 to 2002.
162 people dead.
162 people dead, including civilians. 84 bombings, 130 cases of arson.
Holy shit.
And we will have that next week, and that's a long one. That's a long one. We got some biker wars, buddies. So if you want to see some violence, you guys are sick fucks.
Right.
Want some violence and death, then you're going to want to tune in next week for the Quebec Biker War. And then, or next month, I should say. Next week, however, we shall be going to remaster. We got 2 remasters in a row this month since there's 5 Tuesdays. First one's going to be Billy the Kid. It'll be Billy next week, and then Deadwood, the town of Deadwood after that.
If it was Billy, it should have been the other guys in the gang.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Remember, check out our YouTube. We'll be back then for more Outlaws and Gunslingers. We're out of Mother Music Industry.
Bang dang.